let's get into this conversation now. Social media scams are in the spotlight. This is worldwide following the Netflix documentary, The Tinder Swindler. Some unregistered business owners go as far as using celebrities to try and promote their businesses online. Let's find out then just how widespread this issue is. We speak to the managing director at the Abacus Financial Crime Advisory, Herman de Beer. Mr. de Beer, thank you very much for your time. How widespread is financial fraud using social media platforms to promote these fraudulent companies?
Morning. The digital and electronic age is with us. We live that every day. We engage in that way. We socialize in that way. So it follows that the fraudulent world in that environment should increase. We do not have real statistics for South Africa, but in India, where they have significant digital platform activity, they measure it, and their report that came out to the latter part of last year indicated that from 2020, when they had 2,100 such instances, it increased by more than 100% to mid-2021, to over 4,100 instances. These are cases which they call crimes, which is either defamation or fraud. The one interesting statistic from that is that a third of those, over 3,000 of those that the Indian people have reported, related to Facebook and Instagram interaction. That should give you an indication of the increase, 100% in India alone. And I don't think we're any different in this country if you read the latest public available information, and also what we see in our business in the forensic investigative environment.
All right, let's perhaps put a face to this kind of financial fraud. A CEO of a company called Hello Darlings, and this is an unregistered travel company, we understand. The CEO there, Tasnim Musa, allegedly fled the country owing millions of rand that were paid by people who were expecting to go on holidays, and now suddenly everything has gone bust. She has been speaking, just not to the media houses like ourselves, but she's been speaking saying that she did not mean to do what she did, and that things just spiraled out of control. Is that a defense to begin with?
We need to understand what it means to be spiraling out of control. The information, however, that one would see on the social media, and I saw a comment over the weekend where a Maldives person indicated that the offers made to South African people on social media was half of what it would cost to actually stay in that hotel. Now, that's a damning indication, but one would have to unpack these things. May I just add something here that makes it rather challenging from an investigative perspective when you talk social media and international global platforms. It's really difficult to investigate. If it was a local travel agent, you could go to the place, you could take the bank account, you could take their records, and it's an easy case. When these things take place in an electronic or the digital world, to find that evidence is really difficult. Because who did you interact with when you made your booking? Who did you speak to? What did you say? All that we will have are people on this side, their version, and a deposit. It is difficult stuff, this, to untangle from a forensic and investigative perspective.
And I take your word that these kinds of financial scams are difficult to investigate, particularly if transactions are done online. And the understanding is that there are at least over 200 cases that have been registered against just this one company alone, this unregistered Hello Darlings company. Why is it that people find it easy to part ways with money online? Why is it that people are so confident in doing business online when clearly the amount of fraud that is happening on that space is just as prevalent?
That's a great question. And I wish I could do proper research into that. But here's just some of my comments in that world. First point is, all of us, me and you, we actually now interact, socialize. We read our news on the social platforms. We don't question it. Whether it's somebody in America quoting Biden or Biden himself, we believe it. That's our newspaper. So there's significant reliance placed on what we read on social media. We don't question it. I think the second point is the social media platforms allow these, let me call them crooks, to bombard us with the most beautiful pictures, the most enticing experiences. And they can do it millions of times because we all circulate them and we all tag it and we all like it. So for them, we do their work. We do their marketing for that. If you were a little agency operating out of Sandton, you would send out a flyer or a little email or something to advertise yourself. But the social media platform bombard us. I think the third point that I need to make is it seems that we believe the social world or the social media, the digital world, just so much easier. We turn almost into naive zombies. We don't ask questions. We don't ask, like you just indicated, this particular entity was not registered, wasn't an agency registered. It didn't have a location. We don't even know whether the bank account belonged to the company or to the individual or to a third party. We know none of that. But it's clear that where we are today, and maybe it was enhanced by COVID, the digital electronic world just entices us to be slightly less vigilant and possibly a little bit naive and a little bit too trusting. And that's possibly what the crooks in this world understand and know. And that's why I think that world is so rife with this kind of conduct that you described.
Well, perhaps adding to the intrigue or the attractiveness of these businesses is the use of famous faces, celebrities, people that we watch on television, whether it be a sportsman or a famous face that is on that TV drama or the other, and they are there promoting these businesses. What is their level of culpability when everything gets found out that it was actually fraudulent? Can they plead that I didn't know what I was doing?
A good question. And you're right. That's the door opener. You know, that's the thing that catches our eye. And that's, if you ask someone today, why did you invest? They would say, I saw that beautiful Maldives video of the influencer X, and I've been following her or him for a long time. It is the way they open the door. Even Bernie Madoff did it way back in the United States, utilizing these celebrities as the selling agents. Technically, on your question, if that person is purely asked to do an advertising stunt, we probably have nothing to go after them with. If they know, or if they had evidence that this is a scam, they actually part and they're an agent and they're a co-perpetrator of the fraud.
Wow. And final question, you've mentioned the difficulty of investigating these. The South African Police Service, as you and I were discussing now, there are at least over 100 of these cases that have been opened against just this one company, Hello Darlings. The South African Police Service, how difficult or easy is it going to be to crack such cases? I listened to the interview of the owner of the company, and she is somewhere in another country. Getting them back here is perhaps the first hurdle.
Great question. And I am really sorry for the police sergeant in Parktown Police Station that now sit with 200 cases. Where does he start? There are people within our Hawks environment that could do this from a technical perspective, but they're limited and they're stretched. And I'm not sure they have all the capability. The reality is this bank account, the platform on where these transactions took place are more than likely not South African. You need international cooperation, really difficult processes to get that information, to bring these people to book. Difficult stuff. It's really, really challenging. And the last point I would like to say, I think the crooks know this. They know one thing, and we say it a lot in our world. They know that if I do this now, nobody will find out that it's me, or they won't be able to link this to me. And if they know that, they have carte blanche to do what is alleged to have taken place in this particular instance.